morning, everybody. Hello, it's a Sunday, and here is your Power Thetans update for SPTV Live here in the UK. My name is Possibly Alex. For those of you who don't know me, I used to be the director of public book sales at the Church of Scientology in London, and now I talk about my experiences, give other people a platform to do the same, and seem to be at war with the mayor of East Grinstead. But that is a whole another topic. I'm here today to talk to you about Narconon. Now, Narconon is the drug rehabilitation center that is run by Scientology all over the world. It is based on the principles of L. Ron Hubbard. Basically, his belief is that if you take a buttload of vitamins and you sit in the sauna for extended periods of time, you can sweat out the harmful residue or effects that drug toxins are having on you years after you've taken the drugs, whether that be pharmaceutical drugs, painkillers, or more harmful stuff. So it's based on no scientific evidence or research whatsoever, but nonetheless it is a therapy that they do, and Narconon is currently the only registered charity here in the UK that Scientology run, apart from Greenfields, the school. Now, last week, I brought you the news that the Guardian Observer put on their front page. I've actually got it somewhere, not to hand, but on the front page of the Observer on Sunday last week was a huge story about Narconon in the UK and how there are a bunch of people who were mentally scarred by their time at Narconon and essentially called on the CQC, which is their Care Quality Commission, to look into Narconon and the effectiveness of their program, and how it's basically an unregulated part of society. Now, drug treatment centers are regulated by the CQC. They look at the care of patients, or as Scientology call them, students. However, because Narconon is a non-medical treatment, it's considered alternative therapy, it falls into this weird loophole, kind of gray area, regulation, not regulation. And effectively the CQC have put their hands up and said, not our problem, we're not regulating them. However, off the back of this news article, I did a bit of follow-up research, and I released an article on Scientologybusiness.com, which is my blog / website, which you can check out. There's a link in the description. And the headline is, Scientology's Narconon Drug Rehab Center is under investigation. So this is good news for those of you watching who are interested in the UK activities of Scientology. So Narconon is indeed under investigation by the CQC as a result of all of this hard work that we've been doing and the article in the Observer. If you want to read through this article, you are more than welcome to. It's not very long, but I think interestingly, I managed to get my hands on one of the complaints. Now, one of the things that was raised in this news piece last week was that 19 complaints had been lodged against Narconon in the last 5 years, of which 14 weren't even investigated. And that is a huge flap, to use the Scientology term, and something that the CQC needs to look into. And if you look on Narconon's registration details on the CQC website, you can see that is now being looked into. So the CQC, as I say, is a watchdog, it's a regulator. They look after all health and social care in the UK. And if you look at Narconon's page, it now says, we have suspended ratings for this service. The service is currently dormant. The only part of this service provided at this location, registered and regulated by the CQC, is the accommodation with personal care. We do not regulate the rehabilitation program provided or judge its effectiveness. Now, that's a key thing to note. The CQC don't look at the program itself. It just looks at the care of its patients. Now, the problem is Narconon was registered under the wrong thing. If you look at Narconon's registration, they were registered as providing, there are different regulated activities. That means you have to be regulated to provide certain things, and providing a drug rehabilitation program is a regulated activity. That means you have to be registered for it, you have to have professionals, and so on. Narconon was registered as a service providing personal care, or care for those requiring personal care. It was not registered as a drug treatment center. And so when the CQC went to inspect in 2016, they were inspecting the quality of the care provided for those requiring it. They were not inspecting based on the drug treatment center program that they offer. So basically, the news is that the CQC are now looking into it. I got my hands on one of the complaints that was lodged with the CQC back in December. So that was 3 months ago, that basically said anybody who is currently at Narconon is at imminent risk of potential harm and abuse. Whether or not that particular complaint was looked into, I do not know the facts. However, it is noted that the CQC have ignored 14 out of 19 complaints made in the last few years, and this means the CQC are in a tricky spot. Now, where it says on Narconon CQC page, we have suspended ratings for this service, I found in the guidelines on CQC what that means. So it says here, we may suspend a rating if we identify significant concerns that lead us to reconsider our previous rating. The rating will be suspended until we have investigated the concerns and or re-inspected the service. Now, when I contacted the CQC for comment, they gave me a statement which reads as follows. Given the length of time this provider has not been providing regulated activities for which they are registered, we are currently gathering information to determine our next steps. The rating has been suspended while this decision is made. So off the back of this article in the Observer, the CQC are looking into it. They're investigating Narconon, which is kind of worrying. Now, let's take into consideration that Narconon has been under investigation before. However, previously it was with the Charities Commission. They survived investigations in 1993, 1996 and 2003, but they were looking at purely its charity status, not the drug rehab center itself. Now, I did a bit of digging and a bit of research. Now, again, I'm going to pull up this article because it shows here. Previously, Narconon was registered on the CQC as providing regulated activity, accommodation for persons who require nursing or personal care, and it was listed under a specialism, substance misuse problems. So they did declare that they were helping people with substance misuse problems, but the actual service they were providing is accommodation for persons who require nursing or personal care. It did not register the activity of accommodation and provision of a drug rehab center. That was simply not registered. Now, the reason I bring this up is because that specialism has now been removed from their listing on the CQC website, and it no longer lists substance misuse problems as a specialism, which I think is key because it shows here that the CQC are gravely concerned about what is going on here. Now, I want to also draw attention to something here. I spoke to I have a source who is very extensively trained and educated on CQC policies, and this person, I spoke to them about what was been going on, and they gave me a quote. They said, I don't think they should have been registered for personal care in the first place, but as they didn't seem to meet the criteria to be more medical substance abuse category, one wonders who exactly is regulating these non-medical treatments. Getting a rating is a smart move because it's transparency and makes everything look official and regulated. But if they say they're going to offer personal care, the CQC has to inspect just that part. And as for the 14 unhandled complaints, my source says they can refer any adult safeguarding concerns and address anything within the scope of the regulations. But it seems to me there's probably a few places like this on nobody's radar at all. So the key questions here are, did the CQC refer this complaint in December that I have my hands on here that says people are at risk of harm? Did they refer that to the relevant authorities as per their safeguarding policies, or did they not? Who knows? And more crucially, I think it paints a picture here that Narconon registered as a drug treatment center in 2016 when they opened their new center in Sussex. Dick Sweatman, our favorite politician in the local area, the former mayor of East Grinstead, he was there at the opening. He cut the ribbon. He said how great Narconon is to the local community. So when they registered and they were inspected by the CQC, they got a good rating, which meant that they were doing an okay job. Now, shortly after that, they were filed as dormant, which means they're not providing that regulated service. So therefore, the CQC didn't follow up and inspect them again afterwards. So my theory, my thought is that they registered, they got inspected to get the good rating, then they filed as dormant, so they didn't get inspected again. And for 8 years have been continuing to provide this treatment, this drug rehab service, without being inspected by the CQC, but they've been able to promote how they're registered and regulated and they've got a good rating and so on, because they haven't been forthcoming with the fact that they are still providing a regulated service, and yet they escaped regulation and what's the word? They escaped being looked at by the regulator, by the CQC, because they registered as dormant. So it's a big kerfuffle for sure. But I think the key thing here is they are under investigation. Now, I've got a few people over in Ireland who have informed me that Margaret McNair, Janet Laveau, who are senior OSA people in Scientology, have been spotted in and around Baliva, which is a place in Ireland where they basically tried to open a new Narconon center. It didn't end up coming to fruition. They built it, but the town said, no, we don't want you here. And they, as far as I'm aware, are yet to open this center. Now, these key OSA figures have been spotted in and around town, and I don't know whether that is linked to this recent news article and criticism of the Narconon Centre in the UK, but it appears there's some sort of activity going on in Ireland, and I wonder if that's Scientology attempting to start to shift its operation from the UK over to Ireland in response to the fact that their UK centre currently is not able to provide the services that it's meant to service because it is under investigation. I don't know, it's just a hunch, but anyone in Ireland, in and around Baliva, please do get in touch and let me know what you're seeing on the ground. Just want to say hi to some of you guys. Mark the Dorset SP, how's it going? Thank you for joining. Shag Nasty, thank you. Linda, hello. Hi everybody. Hi Trisha, and hello Des Star. Laura, thank you so much for sharing those gifted memberships. That's very kind of you. And Kat Baloo, because you are kind, loyal, and generous. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you so much for the super chat. For those of you watching, don't forget to press the like button. And if you want to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee with the link down below. I've also got a bunch of new merch, actually, that I wanted to share with you guys. So apostatealex.com is my merch store. And I haven't talked about merch for a while. So I've got these new like Chase Wave t-shirts. I've got an activist toolkit, which is just poking fun at the town council. So we have the it's not East Grinstead Town Council, it's excuses given and trusting cults. There's mugs. There's Not My Dick Sweatman merch in there. And there's some cool fun SPTV stuff in there as well. And all the usual Duke of Chug. There's a red flag in case you wanted a red flag. There's some jokey ones about Not My Remit, which is one of the favorite excuses of politicians at the moment when looking at Scientology. So go and check that out if you haven't seen my merch already. There's a load of new stuff on there. And also, if you want to support on a regular basis, there's memberships on Buy Me a Coffee. So if you go to buymeacoffee.com/apostatealex and click on memberships, there's different like regular tiers. So if you want to like donate a $5 a month or a $10 a month or whatever, you just get a few different perks. And one of them is a discount on merch. So if you wanted to get some merch and you are a regular supporter, go and check out the memberships and you get a little discount code before you get your merch. So that's just something I wanted to bring up while we were there. It's a really good way of supporting the channel and helping me spend more time doing this. So thank you. Danielle, can you get some V-neck tees, please? Yes, there was a reason I haven't got many on there. There was something to do with Fourth Wall not having a great selection or something like that, but 100% I'll look into it. There are some options on there, but I'll double check. Danielle, thank you for bringing that up. One of the other things also on Buy Me a Coffee is I want to do a leaflet drop. So I'm trying to raise some money here. If we can raise £2,500, which is a lot of money, I know, but that will enable us to print 21,000 flyers and get them delivered to every home in and around East Grinstead within a 5-mile radius of St. Hill. basically I want to create these leaflets that warn people about what's going on at St. Hill and what Scientology is all about. And I have now secured my lawyer, who has said he's more than happy to sign off the flyer legally to make sure that it's all above board and we're not going to get sued. He is going to do that for free, which is very, very kind of him, because that's a service that normally he charges for and costs a lot of money. So if we can raise enough money to get these printed and distributed, he will sign them off for us and protect us from making sure we don't get sued for, that's what Scientology likes to do. They like to keep people in litigation. So if we can raise the money, that would be great, as I would love to, spread the word and make sure people are aware of what's really going on at St. Hill in East Grinstead. So guys, this was just a short one. I just wanted to bring you that news. CQC are investigating Narconon in the UK, in Sussex. It's a developing story. I will continue to bring you more as time goes on. Again, this is the article: Scientology UK Narconon Drug Rehab Centre under investigation. The CQC have ignored warnings. In fact, they ignored 14 of the 19 warnings they got over the last 5 years. And it's all linked to the local town council, because Dick Sweatman, who's the former mayor of East Grinstead, he opened the place. The ratings have been suspended by the CQC because they're under investigation. And it's going to be interesting to see how this develops over time. This is Sheila McLean. She is the registered nurse manager person in charge of making sure Narconon delivers its regulated services in line with the guidance. One thing I have uncovered, actually, Sheila McLean, who's meant to be in charge of making sure that the regulated services are provided correctly, has been to flag on more than one occasion over the last few years. If you look up her service completions on the Truth About Scientology website, you can actually see that she's gone to flag for several months at a time to do servicing in Scientology, which means she wasn't there at Narconon. So one of the questions that I posed to the CQC was, if she wasn't there, who was at Narconon running the center, making sure that the regulated services they are providing are being done correctly and above board, because she was literally not in the country. So these are questions that I've posed to the CQC. They've sent me this very short statement, which I shared earlier. It's all on this article. And here is the complaint that I have been, that I found, I've been given, which is one of the complaints that was lodged with the CQC back in December about Scientology's Narconon Center, which I understand has not actually been investigated. So if you want to read that in full, you can here. It is worrying. And I think Narconon and the CQC are both in hot water, because the CQC clearly have messed up here, because this center has escaped their regulation. It hasn't been inspected in 8 years, and now it's in the national press. So keep your eyes on the story, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I will continue to bring this over to you. Boo, is it true you got touched by Anne C in London? I know Anne Rusty. Yes, I know her at London Org, but I don't know what you mean got touched by her. No. I got on quite well with Anne. She was in charge of Division 6C, and we used to do lots of activities together. So I know who she is, but no, I don't know what that rumor is you're talking about there, Boo, in the chat. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to keep this short. I will keep you updated with more news. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, all that sort of stuff if you want to support the channel. I'm only able to do this because it's quite a quiet period of time for me at work at the moment. So I work a lot in the summer. That's my busiest time of year. So there's not much work going on, which means I can actually spend a lot of time on this activism work. And so any support that you guys can give me through Buy Me a Coffee and PayPal, all of that, really, really do appreciate it, because it helps me take on less work, which means I can spend more time doing this. And I hope to be doing more and more of this as time goes on. So all of your support is greatly appreciated. I will keep you guys up to date with anything else that happens. And that's it for now, guys. I am on war footing and I'm not fucking about.
Hip, hip, cheerio! Scientology's got to go! Hip, hip, cheerio! Scientology's got to go! The abuse has to stop! The abuse has to stop!
There is human trafficking occurring at St. Hill at this very moment. and it will continue until government agencies step in to stop it.
I'm angry, real angry.